Mediators Egypt, Qatar and Turkey have signed a document on the Gaza ceasefire deal together with US President Donald Trump at a peace summit in Egypt.
The Dutch government takes control of Nexperia, a Chinese-owned chip maker based in the Netherlands, in a bid to safeguard the European supply of semiconductors.
The 2025 Nobel Prize in Economics was awarded to 3 economists for explaining innovation-driven economic growth.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Mediators Egypt, Qatar and Turkey have signed a document on the Gaza ceasefire deal together with US President Donald Trump at a peace summit in Egypt on Monday. Speaking at the summit in Sharm el-Sheikh on Gaza's future and the Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal, Trump called for a new era of harmony and a new beginning for the Middle East. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, who co-chaired the summit, said Trump's plan is a last chance for peace in the region.
وأنا في خلال اتصالي بفخامة الرئيس ذكرت له ذلك بفخامة الرئيس أنت وحدك القادر على تحقيق السلام في منطقتنا.
The Egyptian leader awarded Trump the Order of the Nile, the country's highest civilian honor. El-Sisi also reiterated the need for a two-state solution, which Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has repeatedly opposed. Trump's plan does not rule out the possibility of a Palestinian state, but only after certain conditions are met.
Sustained applause and a standing ovation greeted U.S. President Donald Trump as he entered the Israeli Knesset on Monday. Addressing Israeli lawmakers and U.S. officials, Trump hailed the return of 20 living hostages from Gaza and pressed for a lasting peace in the region.
This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu credited Trump and pledged his commitment to peace.
Mr. President, you are committed to this peace. I am committed to this peace. And together, Mr. President, we will achieve this peace. My friends, this is only a partial list, but it's enough to affirm what I've said time and again. Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House.
The truce remains tenuous and the sides have not agreed on Gaza's post-war governance, the territory's reconstruction, and Israel's demands that Hamas disarm. Negotiations over those issues could break down, and Israel has hinted it may resume military operations if its demands are not met.
Cries of joy, smiles, tears of happiness. The 20 Israeli hostages held in the Gaza Strip were reunited with their loved ones on Monday. They were released by Hamas as agreed under the ceasefire agreement between the Palestinian Islamist movement and the Jewish state.
I'm so excited. We see Elkanah in video FaceTime. My sister talked with him, and it's very exciting. And she says, on the feet, and he smiled. And she said, tell her, Mom, I'm okay, I'm okay.
The hostages, divided in 2 groups, were first handed over to the Red Cross and then to the Israeli army before being reunited with their families. This reunion marks the end of 738 days of captivity for the hostages and just over 2 years of anguish for their families since the attack of October 2023. For Israel, these releases are a fundamental step, but they do not mark the full implementation of the ceasefire agreement. The Jewish state is still waiting for the return of the remains of 28 deceased hostages.
Israel began releasing hundreds of Palestinians on Monday as part of the ceasefire deals signed between Israel and Hamas. The freed Palestinians were met by cheering crowds in Beitunia in the West Bank. The prisoner's office confirmed at least one bus also crossed into the Gaza Strip. The Palestinians left earlier on Monday from Ofer prison when an armoured vehicle flying an Israeli flag had fired tear gas and rubber bullets at a crowd awaiting the release of the prisoners. Shortly before the release, flyers were circulating stating that anyone supporting, quote, terrorist organizations risked arrest. Israel's military has not commented on the flyers. As part of the ceasefire agreement, Israel will release more than 1,900 prisoners in return for the remaining hostages held by Hamas. 250 of those held by Israel were serving life sentences for convictions in attacks on Israelis, and 1,700 were seized from Gaza in the past 2 years and held without charge.
The Dutch government has taken control of Chinese-owned semiconductor manufacturer Nexperia, based in the Netherlands, deploying a rarely used emergency statute to head off what it called risk to Dutch and European economic security. According to a statement, the decision aims to prevent a situation in which finished and semi-finished products produced by Nexperia would become unavailable in an emergency. The Goods Availability Act enables the state to block or reverse corporate decisions at the firm while allowing day-to-day production to continue. The move underscores a broader European shift toward using national security tools to control ownership and decision-making in sensitive tech supply chains. The action is also the latest flashpoint in Western efforts to shield semiconductor ecosystems amid intensifying US-EU export controls and investment screening targeting China.
Polish prosecutors have charged 2 Russian citizens for spying for Russian intelligence, prosecutors said on Monday. One of them, who is referred to as Igor R., was additionally charged with acting jointly with 3 other suspects in sending a parcel containing explosives. In July last year, a series of parcel fires targeting courier companies took place in Poland, Germany, and the UK. Western officials blamed the incidents on the Kremlin. Moscow has repeatedly denied such allegations, despite a slew of evidence in court cases proving otherwise.
At least 47 people have died from Mexico's torrential rains after different states around the country saw flooding and landslides. Mexican authorities said emergency services were rushing to help affected residents look for missing people and try to clean several areas.
Ahora sí que por la naturaleza, ¿verdad? ¿Qué podemos hacer? Sí, y pues le afectó bastante, pues todo se perdió. Pues tenía comedores, tenía muebles, camas y todo.
Over the weekend, the country saw devastation in some states where the flooding swept away vehicles and destroyed houses and roads. According to the Civil Protection, at least 38 people were missing in 3 different states. Authorities have attributed the deadly downpours to Hurricane Priscilla and Tropical Storm Raymond, which formed off the western coast of Mexico and have since dissipated.
Three economists have won the 2025 Nobel Prize in Economics for, quote, having explained innovation-driven economic growth. Half of the prize was awarded to Joel Moker from Northwestern University in the US. The committee said it awarded the prize to Moker for identifying the conditions needed to sustain growth through technological progress. The other half of the prize was shared by Philippe Aguien, who teaches in Paris and London, and Peter Howitt from Brown University in the US, for their theory explaining how economies grow through creative destruction, which refers to new innovation in technology and business replacing old ones. The Economics Prize is formally known as the Bank of Sweden Prize and was created in 1968 in memory of Alfred Nobel. The 5 Nobel honors were announced last week.
Ну, я провів в полоні 3 роки, а саме 1111 днів. Момент обміну, та й після цього я не відчував взагалі нічого, тому що за той час перебування в полоні нас змушували блокувати всі емоції, які в нас тільки є.
Війна, яких зруйнувала їхній мозок, розірвала їхні нейронні зв'язки, знищила їхні нейрони. І сьогодні ми маємо знаходити як найоптимальніші, і найякісніші, і найпростіші інструменти, які б відновлювали цю нейропластичність і нейрогенез.